I'm here at the Global Technology Summit and I'm joined by Gaurav Gandhi, who is the Vice President of Amazon Prime Video in India. Welcome to WION, Gaurav.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Yeah. I'll start with a very basic question, or rather, let's begin with a hot topic, I would say FIFA World Cup. Football fans in India were recently miffed after JioCinema couldn't deliver an interruption-free streaming experience. So my question here is, what can Indian media companies do to get streaming right?
I think Indian media companies are getting streaming right. We are seeing hundreds of millions of customers in India who stream video every day and enjoy that. And for an industry that's 5 or 6 years old, or the number of people who adopted to streaming either AVOD or SVOD has been phenomenal. As Prime Video, we just finished the Indian New Zealand cricket series, and people absolutely loved the experience they had. Similarly, the features that streaming brings in, the seamless ability to actually get to our audiences across devices. So I don't agree with you. I think streaming in India is doing a world-class job, and customers are really happy with it in general. And I think what's most amazing piece here is the fact that with the size and scale of our industry in terms of users, how quickly the infra has enabled us to deliver so seamlessly is actually quite commendable.
Okay, when it comes to OTT, the Indian market is getting more and more competitive by the day. What do you think Amazon is planning to do to get a strong foothold in the competitive Indian OTT market that is right now dominated by other players?
I think everything we do at Amazon and Prime Video is customer backwards. We are very focused on the fact that we have a large base of audiences who watch us, customers who are Prime members, and many who will be as we go forward. And we have to entertain and delight them with our program overall and our content. So one of our basic things we look at is the fact that we program for the country broadly. We program in 10 languages. We bring in the best of global and local stories and shows and movies. We're deeply invested in local content, not just in Hindi, but in multiple languages. We are deeply invested in getting cinema and movies across the board to audiences. The fact is, there is such amazing, amount of cinema being created in this country, movies being created, and there is a shortage of screens, and audiences are sort of, not able to get everything in theaters at the time they want to. So therefore, Prime Video plays a very important role with the filmmakers and the industry to get these movies and to customers, homes and on the screens. We're playing a very important role as well, is to expanding what we call the overall segment size for our creators as well, and giving choice to customers. I think Prime Video has played a key role in the fact that the linguistic palette of the Indian customers today expanded quite broadly. We see 50% of our audience actually watching content in more than 4 languages, which basically means is no longer is a movie only for a segment or its home state. It is watched very broadly. We're also able to give all of this content around the world and make sure our stories are available in more than 240 countries and territories, which, as an example, we are actually able to, we already see that 20% of our customers of our originals that we make in India come from outside the country. Films get global reach. So I think we're doing a lot for the industry and a lot for the customers, and that's why customers are absolutely loving us, and it's demonstrated in the growth Prime and Prime Video has had over the last almost 6 years now.
Absolutely, I totally agree here. As we understand that content is the king, no OTT platform can survive for too long without good content. So how do you think content will evolve in the months or years to come when it comes to OTT?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think there are 2 different lenses there. The first lens is about the creative ecosystem and how that's evolving. And honestly, we are a 5 or 6 year old industry when it comes to original series creation. India never actually had premium pay TV in that sense. And a lot of that was there in the West, and we were on our television series were a different format and different kind. So as we and other streamers started creating original stories and original series, they quickly became, world class, and we've seen examples of our shows like Family Man or Mirzapur, being loved across the board, not just in India but around the world. But then you also see the fact that these, the number of creators who got into it and how quickly they're able to do this, not just in Hindi. We just had an amazing series we released in Tamil called Sodal, which did really well. So I think one of the things which is happening is that as Indian storytellers and technicians and writers create great stories, and not just for one service but across the board, it lifts the entire industry up. So we'll see more and more of that coming up, and we'll see more of that, more languages coming up and expand. Second, back to my point I was making about the fact that the linguistic palette expansion in India and outside is leading to the fact that Indian stories are generally becoming global. And I see the next 4 or 5 years, definitely we'll see several Indian stories pop to actually being big global hits. So I'm very excited about how the industry is going. Last point I would say is that it also impacts a lot on what you call a star today. What you call, like, there are stars who are not the conventional word of stars. They, of course, they are superstars anyways right now, but they're superstars also coming from streaming who are new talent that's emerging, who become so popular around the world and in people's houses, and the characters live over years with you in various seasons. So that's also changing the face of how stories are being told and the faces on screen who are behind the stories.
Clearly, not just the Indian market, you understand the global market as well. So my next question is, what kind of appreciation is the Indian content getting from people outside of India, and what role is OTT playing on that front?
OTT playing a very, very important role of expanding the reach and the distribution. Fact of the matter is, in the past, when you had a film release outside of India, you could reach a handful of markets, 10, 20, 30. Like, even TV distribution was limited to certain countries. You would license your shows. Today, you truly can release content and make people watch content in over 200 countries and territories, and 240 in our case. That's part one. Second, it's not just about the availability of it. It's also the fact that viewers are watching it, and then once they like it, they get more of that, and they're able to immerse themselves in it. So the streaming really is able to give the reach to the creators and the storytellers and the actors. Your other question about appreciation, I think it's in two kinds. The one which is, in actual consumer appreciation is actually visible in the fact that I mentioned to you, almost 20% of our viewership of our Indian originals comes from outside the country. Similarly, you see films, in many films, there's 15-20% of viewers coming outside the country. But you also then see the awards, you see the nominations, you see the fact that so much of that is being talked about, and you see so much collaboration now happening between international creators and Indian, is a testament to the fact that our stories are resonating at global levels. And like we said, Amazon, it's just day one.
Good to hear that collaborations are happening and numbers are increasing. And I have to ask this question. I'm sure that many people must have asked you this question many a time in the past. Do you think OTT can ever fully dethrone India's go-to entertainment option, that is multiplexes?
I think the fact is, India is a country of and not or, right? And therefore, just like there is TV and will be TV, there will be streaming, there is theaters, there is streaming providing movies. So it's all and. I think theaters give a experience to customers, a different experience to customers, and have a role in customers' lives. And streamers play another role in the customers' lives. So therefore, we believe the streaming industry is actually empowering and fueling the creative economy by actually getting those movies broader reach to audiences who may not be able to watch it on theaters, to countries and viewers who may not get those movies that way, and expanding the complete footprint of a film that allows us to go back and invest into to more films, and in turn for the producer and the studios to make more movies. So it fuels, it's a virtuous cycle which helps the entire industry, the writers, the creators, technicians, actors, everybody. And I think that is the role streaming is playing. It's really fueling the creative economy. So I don't think it's a question of will it dethrone. There's no question of dethroning. It's a question of the and the role streaming plays, which is pivotal in the film industry today.
Talking about and or, and I'm coming to my last question. OTT platforms are growing. What do you think are the future projections in terms of both revenue and subscriber base?
I can't comment on subscriber base and revenue specifically, but I can tell you one thing, that at a general India level, the fact is that, 5 years out, there'll be as many people streaming video as they are watching TV. And that sort of really gives us the headroom for growth for the industry at large. And that's on the audience side. And then on the creative side, we also see the fact that, we are seeing so many new original content pieces coming out of, multiple languages. We see that flourishing across languages. And we are so rich in our culture and heritage of storytelling across languages. I really see that becoming mainstay as well. So yeah, we're just getting started and super excited about what's there to come.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for sharing such valuable and interesting insights.
My
It was a
pleasure.
pleasure to have you on Beyond,
Thank
and
you
wish
very
you all
much,
the
Farhan.
best.
Thank you.